Oh, okay. Yeah, that explains a lot. Our audios were, yeah. Say something.
Hello.
Okay, you are audible.
Yay. Hello, people joining.
Hello?
We are here in Resmonic.
Yeah. Here to ask questions or answer questions that you ask in chat about Resonite, whether it be the art team in general or well, stuff that we do, whether it be Blender, Substance
Painter.
Painter, etc.
Yep. It's
Been
been
kind
kind
of
of a
a
slow day.
slow day so far, but busy day in the background, at
Yep.
least for me at the moment. I've been finalizing the wording of updating the item submission system, which will just be simply a folder submission system for users to submit things within the Resonite Essentials.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That way people can share their items and folders and whatnot. Make sure you guys give a good read of the guidelines for those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, shooting for this week to have that out. Make a soft announcement or non-picking one in the announcements of the Discord. And have that ready.
Mm-hmm.
Lately been doing drafts and note-taking for business stuff as well as ideas to take into account for the new beginner's experience. We're technically going to be making two of them too. One that is like kind of our like business or education client centered one, and a general platform one.
Mm-hmm.
Where a lot of the systems, or at least design philosophy for the systems, will be shared. Or at least we'll take what we learned from one and use that for the other.
Let me see here. Well, I had something I wanted to.
Like to kind of go on like the kind of research or kind of things we're looking at is how games do their tutorials, software, and even like other virtual reality platforms or games handle interaction and teaching users how to use like their software. This is not only we'll have to figure out how to teach brand new people to VR or even using like a computer in a sense of like 3D space, like walking around, jumping, climbing, etc., making it so that users can choose what they want to learn about.
Or even like teaching them the basics for games that uh, come with. Oh, thank you, Decoy, for the raid.
Ah,
And hello.
hello. Hello, and welcome to the Resonite Art Team Office Hours. I'm
We were
Aegis
just
Wolf, and this is Rushen.
hello. We were just talking about a like simple. I wouldn't say simplified. It would be more just like a more beginner type tutorial. One that like we already have to make for another thing, and it would be more along the lines of like teaching someone who has not played a video game before how to use a computer and use like Resonite.
Resonite, yeah. Basically, we're making this year two different beginner's experiences. One that is geared towards our business and education clients as well as one for general like user use. Both will have like uh, supplemental information, things like the help tab or videos to go with it, as well as a narrative interactive experience that is dynamic in nature. So,
Also, as always, if you want to ask a question or have any thoughts, just post them into chat with a question mark, and it'll show up on the board over here.
you can ask us pretty much anything about Resonite. Can direct you to others if we don't know off the top of our heads. Things about what the art team has been up to, the stuff about Resonite in general, and things like Blender, Substance Painter, GIMP, Krita, a few others. We use a
I do
lot of
have one
different programs. Question from Qualitorium. The first question of the day. What world are we in? We are in a world called Resmonic. And you can search it up within our featured worlds within Resonite.
This was a world that was concepted by Nex, and then the art team and a bunch of community members helped kind of shape it into what it is now. We use it for music events and DJing. You might have been here for a couple of the block parties. There was even a Christmas version of it made for the holidays.
Give like a 360 view of it. We're inside that center dome for context.
Yep.
I can use the
This
question
is where all
to
the controls
realign
are
it.
for like music, stream, particles. That way people can like run shows and stuff up here.
Ooh, we have a good question. So there's two ways of asking questions, including what you just did right now. So to ask or to answer your question, Lilam, within Resonite's Discord, if you want to ask questions ahead of a time, you can ask within forum posts within the Office Hours forum section of our Discord. It's right above our voice channels. You can see where the Office Hours updates are, like where someone posts an update about, hey, we're about to be live in like either Discord or in Twitch about when the next Office Hours is. You can also check the calendar there. But in that forum post, you'll see all the different Office Hours questions posts for like the next week. Like the one that is for the art team Office Hours for next week hasn't been made yet. It will be made after post stream, and that's where you can ask questions ahead of time if you miss these streams as they are uploaded to our YouTube channel.
And we'll answer those questions on stream. That way you can get a good.
Yeah. And you can ask questions live on stream by putting a question mark somewhere within the message, because it will pop up on the side here on this chat. And then I can actually, for example, grab this question right out of it. I can even mark if it's already answered. Yep. That is a Twitch chat system that a user by the name of Jack the Fox Otter created in Resonite. So, yeah, utilizing the different chat command systems that you can use within the scripting in here. Or just to parse text as well to get like a question mark as well for that. We also have a good question from the Dragon King Gamer. What work does being on the art team encompass? Is it world design and texturing only, or do you also code things in Protoflux for assets, etc.? Do you work within UI? All of the above.
Yeah, anything that is like makeable in platform or usable in platform, we do that. And then even sometimes like making things outside of the platform, for like video asset, like for marketing, or if it we need to make sounds or stuff outside the platform, bring them in.
Blender,
Anything that's
Substance
like
Painter,
interactable, stuff like
GIMP,
that.
Krita,
Yeah.
things like that. Like external
Um.
programs to create assets, and even like to create assets within Resonite 2 as well. There's some things that you can create in here, but more will be coming when more features.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we've done things like UIX, which is like the UI system, which actually this question right here itself is a piece of UI as well. And having the capability of designing the UI directly within Resonite. Like, to give an example, the color picker, the settings panel, and like the help tab are all things that are designed directly in Resonite. Well, all the building blocks, like the code that controls how the buttons work, sliders, the sprite sheets, the text, and like different layouts for all that has been coded ahead of time so that anybody can create any kind of UI they want within Resonite. And yeah, some overlap with like coding is on a team, and like with other things too, like business and like marketing. It depends on like what each of us do and what's needed to get done. Like a lot of people on the team wear a lot of hats, but we mostly focus on that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I don't do coding myself, but there's some on the art team that do, like Raivi. Now we have another question from Lilamb. Was wondering what is the most impact for performance regarding UIX canvases? Are nested canvases heavy, and how many nested canvases are too many? Are animations more important to consider? So
Um.
you go ahead.
I was gonna ask like what they would be using the nested canvases for.
So
Um.
we have technically two or three canvases going on here in the chat right
Yeah, but they're
now.
separated. But like nested would assume that they're each under each other's hierarchy rather than um, them just being used as separate pieces. Mostly I say this because for all of the UI that we've made for Resonite and everything, we've not needed to like put a canvas inside of a canvas. Mostly because it just works by putting the UIX components under it and just making different child objects in that one canvas and having it handle everything there.
There's like only a few cases where like nested canvases will have to be made. And that's like things that handle like specific types of graphics, from what I recall. Things like I think it was like the audio visualizer, or like your voice might be one of them. But yeah, I'd say regards of how you set those canvases up. Right now, there's also a UIX canvas behind us on that display there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty simple as well too. And these are UI elements that are nested within a single UIX canvas, but
If you
nesting
ever
them.
inspect this thing in World as well, you'll see that there's like templates in there. Each one of these like smaller panel sections is just like a child object with a bunch of setup components, and we have a template in there that we can just duplicate and add to. That way, we can just make infinitely number of those.
Mm-hmm. And regards of how heavy they are, As with a lot of things when designing worlds and such, it depends on the use case and or case by case basis. It's best
Yeah.
to scope out if you're making a design of for like a world or an item, scope out what you need. Then once you get like the stuff you absolutely need, then you check what you can like uh, strip down regards of what you don't need, or like performance if you're wanting more performance or something more stylized. But when it comes to setting things up, it's usually good to like test things in like a blank world, even to see its impact. If it's like a piece of UI or an object of some kind, and with animations, that depends on like what kind of animations are you referring to. Is it can
Yeah.
animate things utilizing components and protoflux.
Also,
Go ahead.
the like resolution for the canvas. A lot of the times you don't need something that's like a full 1080p screen, which I think a lot of the canvases when you first pull them out are like what 16 by 9 1080p, but like the dev to spawn version. Um, but like canvases like this one over here have much different resolution.
Yeah,
So it's a lot lower.
that in particular also is using a camera to actually render what you see on there, but the camera's only rendering what the UI is seeing there. That way it gets projected onto a curved surface, and that's how your Resonite dashboard works as well too, at least when it's curved.
Portals.
So,
They
yeah.
cast portals.
And although it could be more heavy in some cases, in regards to the dash, it's the only thing that's in a quote unquote overlay world that's running on top of the world that we're in right now. So technically, you have two worlds running at once at all times. Your overlay world, which is where your UI is located, that's why you can only interact with your UI in your instance, and the world that we're currently in. Uh, we do have another continuation from Lilam. I found a good approach for collapsing menus and more in general to make elements move without creating conflicts and redrawings of things that are more static in the canvases. When I try to do it within only one canvas, things get messy. Ah,
I mean, we've done a few things like that. I can't think of an example that people can look at because I know the help tab is like the different tabs that move around and are kind of animated. But I think we're driving like some of the UX components to get them to do that.
I do know there are open GitHub issues about some bugs that we ran into when working on either the settings or the help tab. They're mainly just visual glitches that can happen here and there. They
Yeah.
are known.
Off the top of my head, though, I can't think of any performance issues coming from a large number of UX canvases. They're pretty efficient for the most part.
Depends on like what kind of things that are changing on those UIX canvases. Like the more things you change in them, the more calculations you have. I see a question, but you forgot to put a question mark at the end. That's okay. This one is from Retro Gamer. Are there plans for more tutorials coming from the team, much like Snapper's tutorial from Decoy? Oh, so if you're referring to like specific tutorials for like specific features or like things, that is
I mean,
something that we want to look into as well.
yeah. There were a couple that we wanted to make, especially for the Avatar world. And
Yes.
we want to make like tutorials for specific tools that we've either created ourselves or the community has created that people just use quite often. Um, but finding time to do all of those things is hard.
Yeah. It's like um having tutorials as well, also for like specific things that creators also would need to know, like some of the features that Resonite has that is that not a lot of other places have, will be really good to document, not only like when we make these tutorials, but we also would copy that information onto our wiki.
Yep.
Therefore, it has multiple places for people to see, as well as having these things on our help tab. Yeah, and in general as well, to kind of go over what I mentioned earlier in the stream, is that we're going to be working on 2 new narrative-driven tutorial experiences. One that is like for a general platform-esque wide audience, and one for company clients or educational clients. We're going to be reusing elements, rather just mainly protoflux systems, code, whatnot, between each of them. There is another question here from the Dragon King Gamer. Is there any intention to make the docs self-completing in a similar fashion to Sandbox, or is that not feasible because of a difference in a fundamental structure? I am not sure what you are referring to. Docs, like documentation or
And
documents?
I think with how Resonite's set up, like if they are talking about documentation for things, I'm not sure how that would work. Like a lot of things are kind of just like made bespoke for Resonite, and aren't like general, at least in most cases.
Context-driven nodes and like the API. Oh, this might be a good question for both Probable Prime on every Tuesday. They do their office hours on Discord, as well as Fuchs does their own office hours on Sundays. So,
Yeah, this seems like a coding question for
yeah,
engineering team.
yeah.
I mean, they just do not know coding. Like,
You know a bit. I mean, I'm learning HTML here and there too because I discovered or rediscovered NeoCities. Been wanting to make a site on there at some point, so I can
and I
learn
know
at
enough to
least
get by for like logs. That's about it.
that too. It's like a given for a team member. Ah, this one's also another good question. What do you think has been the most easy to use versus the most challenging part of Resonite? Easy to use is importing assets. Hard to use would probably be oh,
I mean,
seeing like the well, setting up full body is definitely quite a difficulty for a lot of folks, as well as things like um, well, importing and setting up an avatar in the first place is quite easy if there's no like specifics, but that's a case by case basis.
I mean, for me at least, one of the easiest parts of this is like how easy it is to fully create something that you want to make, whether it be a world, an avatar, an item, a game, like whatever you wanted to create, you can just kind of like make that in here. incredibly quickly, and iterate on it with others, work together really fast. Um, but the only challenging part, um, is that like because we're still working on the engine, we're also missing a few features in here and there, which is not totally a bad thing. Like we're
Yeah.
still working on it, and when we make new things and run into those like kind of walls, we can figure out what we're missing, and
Hmm.
then we can look into working on those parts of the engine. Um, and sometimes trying to work around some of those limitations is challenging, but I think we've shown that you can still make some fun things and do some cool stuff even with some of those limitations.
Yeah. The yeah, workarounds would probably be what I would
Hmm.
say as well too, is like the most challenging part. Things like the full, and that would be a thing like regardless when like new features will come out, because then there's like another thing that comes up, and then it's like we have to do another workaround. That's like an endless thing we'll have to think about. Like for example, the
Yeah,
full body, that's going to be fixed at some point,
yeah.
and people have easier like time creating avatars as well with an updated IK system, and like yeah, then there's like other limitations that we got to think about it, whether it
One of
be like
the
go ahead.
One of the examples I always like to point to is when we were working on the meta movie project. That thing was so early on that we were basically constantly doing workarounds for things that are incredibly simple to do now. But we wouldn't have those new tools if we hadn't gone through those workarounds. And to give some like specific examples of things that came from that project or stuff like um, user collider trackers, because we were making a lot of culling systems and we needed something that was just easier to use than what the current method was back then. And
And
like,
dynamic
yeah,
variables was it?
dynamic impulses, being able to like kind of wirelessly send things. That one was a lot earlier on as well. Um, like it, yeah, there was a lot of things that came from like doing workarounds in that project that just made things easier.
Both of us are like pretty much, especially you, Rue, are like responsible for a lot of the things that people use in Resonite
Hmm.
on a daily basis. Even
It's
if
just
they
like,
don't make things, they use items that use it that will
yeah.
not have been able to exist without it.
I remember when I was talking to Aegis and Frooks, and I was like, I need to send this file to Aegis, but it's too big for Discord and too big for Google Drive, and Nextcloud is too slow. So we're like, Frooks, can we just like have a file transfer system inside of Resonite, and now we can just like import raw files, and it's actually been very useful for stuff like meetings and for like sharing assets, you know, things we make in here. Uh, it's yeah, it's pretty damn good.
Boom! I just brought in a avatar folder just like that.
Yeah,
I still gotta set up that avatar. It was free on Christmas, so oh yeah,
I've got
that
another
was the
couple
one.
questions.
Yeah,
I feel like my body keeps
it's
sliding.
also you're welcome, Retro Gamer, for the dice.
The Dragon King Gamer also asks, "How do you keep everything organized on
Sorry,
what
you
you
are
are
creating.
creating? A wall I noticed I am hitting is trying to remember how all the different parts link together and what things are called, etc. Is there a special method, or do you just kind of dump it in a search engine slash the wiki?"
So that is a good question, and it also depends on what you're organizing. Actually, I can go into the world itself here too, because there's a few places of organizing that you have to think about.
while
The
they're getting that
world,
out, I would say start with like a kind of sketch of what you want to make, whether it be a world, an item, something like that. And it can either be like a 2D sketch in kind of like a layout, or it can be um, like a flow chart or a Figma board, just like what you want to make, you want it to do, or what you want to do in it, and you can then list all the things you need to accomplish those goals, and then follow through with that. Then there's also like what Idris was talking about, say like world organization with in the hierarchy, which we can show off here because we do have like kind of a system we usually use for most of our worlds.
yeah, and as well as you got to think about um, your file structure in your computer for like any local assets that you create, kind of like organizing it in like a folder. And I usually like treat my personal projects and official projects as well, where if it's something that we're not going to touch really again, I just like compress the folder in a zip, like all the different assets that are organized of like materials, assets, or like models, textures, etc., and kind of like compress it to use less space. And another thing is within Resonite itself, not just the worlds, but also your inventory also matters too. And currently, the only way to organize your inventory is to spawn out and resave and delete items out of your inventory. So it is really important, at least right now, to initially get like organized in your inventory, especially if you're working on a project and you need like a new subfolder for it.
Like, you even do it in a similar way to like how we have the world set up, where you just have like the main directory, just the project name as the folder, and then each part of that thing in a new folder inside there.
Yeah. Usually when setting up worlds, like within a cloud home, for example, as well too, there's a root just for like the skybox. In this case, you have like the world, you have the users, the roles, the assets, and like some specific things that are more like, say, if it's something that is a specific system that needs to be in a root, it can be there too. Usually I make a folder called utilities and put all like the like that's where the spawn root is, that's where the clipboard importer will be, and except for things like the roles, things like the locomotions will also be in like utilities. So
What's funny is you might have noticed that there was a folder called gizmos in like bold letters in that folder. So when we were working on this world, we had people filming in it while we were working on it, and they didn't want gizmos to show up in the recordings because they're visible from everywhere. So we set up a tool like on the fly to locally move gizmos into that folder that was hidden for the people who were doing the recording, so that we could continue to work on stuff without interfering with them. Which
I was wondering
cool.
about that folder.
Yeah. That's when Theo and Nex were filming some things, and Cyro made a little tool to hide the gizmos. We do have another short question.
Yep, this one from Retro Gamer. Can you export from Reso? Yes, you can. You can export generic files, model files, although do note that it will not export things like blend shape or a rigged mesh yet, as well as things like animations. So you can like export textures, images, I believe text, PDF files, as well as models, as I mentioned earlier.
Yep.
But in
Sounds,
a limited
images,
capacity right
models,
now. Sounds too.
Yeah.
And I think videos as well.
Something that we did for some of the maps in Meta Movie was like we did a 3D drawing of the layout that we wanted, like in Resonite, exported that 3D drawing and then imported it into Blender and used it as a reference for like laying out things. At least that was in the early days. We ended up making a tool to snap things, like pieces and parts of the modular map inside of Resonite, and then using that over the 3D drawing. So there's multiple different like ways you can kind of go about that workflow. But definitely being able to export like a 3D drawn item into Blender for reference is really nice.
Like
I think
if
it
I
just made a car like that once too.
yeah, actually using like the brushes and that. I'm trying to snap this in here real quick.
I mean, the limit. They ask what the limit is. It is pretty much anything your computer can hold in its memory. We do not put a limit on import or export. Just whatever your hardware can handle. Like if you want to import a 1 quinzillion vertice like mesh, you can do that.
There's probably a limit inside like the how Unity would render things, but I think that's
I don't even think that would stop it, because if Unity can't render it, it would just be black.
Or, yeah, you got a point, or
like
just
it'll still work.
Show up.
It just won't render.
Yeah, because like you can have an arbitrary file like it just brought in a zip folder earlier, and that's just in here.
I mean, I've transferred items that were like 15 gigs, which is why we needed like the transfer system in here. Like if we're ever like giving over raw render files or extremely big like textures or a lot of textures, yeah. Video files as well, like video files for like VODs and things can get quite big. So being able to transfer them through here is pretty nice.
Yeah, things like this. Like say if you use a glue tool, you just make sure it's not baking the meshes together. There we go. Uh-oh. I glued something else to it, didn't I?
There's a lot of things in this room. Yeah, you glued the security system to it.
Yeah. Note to folks, be careful when gluing things. Actually, let me put a pivot center.
And for those wondering, that object was there because whenever we were doing some of the streams and like events in here, we didn't want people messing with the controls during live things, which we did have multiple contingencies in place. That was just one of the many.
Where's an orange? I'll get that. There we go.
Also a reference to Halo.
Yeah, kill ball. And then I can simply take this. I can go into my render private UI. Click on this. And I can export as a Resonite package or whatever. Usually it's good to click on what format you want. It'll automatically add that, but it'll still be that, so it's a little bug. So if you select a format, it'll export it. It'll make a textures folder for it. And yeah, there it is, the GLTF.
Just in case people haven't really messed with the Resonite packages before, if you export an object as a Resonite package, every single thing that is like on that object or that makes up that object within Resonite is saved into that file, and when you drag and drop it into Resonite, it'll automatically import that object as if you spawned it out of your inventory. With Protoflux intact, any images, animations, sounds, all of that will just be on the object. So if you ever have an object that you want to transfer to a friend, and you don't want to send it through like the messaging system, or you aren't in their world, you can just export it as a package and put it up there. Or if you're a content creator and you have an avatar or an item that you want to distribute, you can do it in the form of a Resonite package. That way it's already set up um, whenever the person gets it. There's actually a few avatars that are set up as Resonite packages now. That you, when you buy the avatar, it just comes pre-set up as an avatar.
Where? Oh, I forgot to save the root of this thing. Okay. That explains it. So it did spawn in, and then I'm going to do a bring to. There we go. Yeah. Wasn't really too much of a good example of that happened, but yeah, that's showcasing that you can just spawn a Resonite package. They will exist menacingly in the background. Or even there. Oh, even better lighting. With the lights. There. Perfect. Alright, let's turn off UI so you don't see that floating in front of my face. Yeah. Oh. This is a good question from our DO8. When do you think the ability to make your own shader will be available? Unless if it's already possible. I'm not sure if it is or isn't. So, currently, Resonite is using 2 engines currently, and it's a hybrid system. One is what we see right now that is being rendered, and that's Unity. But on the underlying aspects of Resonite, it uses an engine called Fruix Engine, a homebrew custom-built one from the ground up, which, funny enough, was a Unity plugin, which now Unity pretty much is like a plugin to Resonite, being a separate process running at the same time as regular Fruix Engine called Renderite. Now, a lot of the different systems that Resonite used that borrowed from Unity have been basically rewritten from scratch. Things like how particle systems are handled, how the audio engine was remade as well too. But the main thing left is the rendering engine, and that is one thing that actually is more of an open effort for us to find a good candidate to move from. That is one of the reasons why we don't have custom shaders yet, because if we implement that now, that will cause content breakage for the future. We will want to
a lot of tech debt.
Yes, which will cause said content breakage.
For those interested on like the status of that, by the way, there's a GitHub issue, and I think Fruix had made an announcement in the past about it, where you can take a look at the suggested rendering engines that people have put up for like what we can
potential candidates. Yeah.
Yep. You can provide your feedback there if you're knowledgeable on the subject. And yeah, we are looking to move to a new one, and at some point we will definitely be able to do like custom shader stuff, and that's things that like we've been wanting to do. We don't generally give like a time frame on those things because we're working on so many things that kind of just happen when they happen. But we do let people know like what we're currently working on and like how far along that thing is if we're working on it. But when we talk about things that are like very far off in the future or like giving projections or timeframes for that, it's really hard because unexpected things happen and can move things around. And yeah.
Yeah. And like with the new rendering engine, it's a community effort as well too. So part of it is people can help contribute for it. So if people are interested in contributing to like the open source projects that we're looking into like using as a rendering engine, they can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like all in all, it's the main thing we're looking at when looking at these engines is first feature parity with what we have already, and the flexibility of with the license so that we can just work with the code on a deep level, and also be able to expand upon it. And if we add new features ourselves to said engine, anybody else that uses that open source rendering engine can potentially benefit from it too. Yeah. There's definitely some things you can ask about this in regards of the folks that work more on the coding side of things as well too, but that's as far as we know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save that snowman.
Also, Retro Gamer said this earlier, but they were saying Protoflux maintained, and yes, definitely. That honestly, that's one of the strong things about the Resonite package is the fact that like every aspect of it is contained within it. So like make particle system, that's in there. Like everything. It just it's like as if you saved it into your inventory.
Like Avatar, it's also one thing we wanted to add for even Avatar makers to have like a one drag and drop like avatar for anybody in Resonite, pretty much. If they buy an avatar off of, for example, Gumroad or whatnot, or Jinxie, they can just download the res pack, and kind of like how you can just drag and drop a Unity package, you drag and drop it into Resonite, boom, it's there, already set up. Even with like sometimes people make little UIs to like customize its colors or swap textures, and then you
Or the
click it.
animations for like gestures.
Yes, and you click a button, it deletes the UI, and it pretty much sets it in place where you can just use it as an avatar. Let's save this in my procedural mesh folder, the creations. No, not there. There.
Also, we have about 10 minutes, so if you have any like last minute questions, definitely throw them our way. Make sure to have a question mark at the end of it. And just let us know if you have anything you want to talk
I found an older snowman that I made out of procedural meshes and brushes, and I'm going to put them right next to it.
The glowing eyes on that one.
Yes.
You have some menacing snowmans, apparently. I didn't know this was a theme.
I don't know. It's because it's so easy to make them in like Resonite. This one has arms and everything too.
Oh, I would also like to mention that I hope people are having fun with MMC and everything going on in there. Definitely looking forward to testing out some of the worlds. If Fruits needs me to help them with checking them out. Sometimes I run around with them if we're doing like multiplayer ones.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool. I've been trying to stay spoiler free so that I can go in with a fresh mind for a lot of the projects. Anytime someone's talking about MMC, I'm like, "Don't tell me. I want to see it when it's
I've only seen like world descriptions and like or names and like only one game that I know someone's making, but I'm just curious on what people are gonna make. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm relatively just hanging out with friends and that. I already got enough on my plate, and I know technically team members can do it, but I don't wanna. There's plenty of
Yeah.
things I want to make in general in regards to like projects, as well as like internal projects that we are doing, whether it be the beginner's experience, the universe, business things. Yeah. Oh, here's a
That's a fun one.
random interesting question from Satan Dove. What is your favorite locomotion?
I like frictionless three-axis flight.
Grab World. I would so use it if it was. You know what? I'm gonna install it. I'm gonna install it because I can. Ah, but yeah, that pretty much answers it. Ooh, all right, here we go. Another question from this time computer user. I thought about submitting something for MMC, but I don't want to pressure myself to make something before deadline. Sorry if this isn't a place to ask, but is it possible to join MMC late? Uh, anytime within the month.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean, you
much.
don't really have to sign up for it. You kind of just have to like submit a thing before
Well, you
the contest
do have to
finishes.
sign up, I think,
You do?
but
Well, I guess for the price, but isn't that just during the submission?
Medra has a lot of information within the Discord for the specifics on that.
Yeah, Medra's the one
But
that handles MMC. We kind of just it's a community
yeah,
event.
that we also help sponsor as well too with the prize
Yeah.
pool. But yeah, it's go check that. And I do believe it's possible to join it like even after a while, but it's still within a month though. And all the submissions are like up until like the midnight of the end of February.
There's a lot of fun categories, so definitely check them out and see which ones you want to make. There have been some pretty funny ones that have been made insanely quick by just a few people. Like I think the cat and pickle toss one was kind of funny from one of the years. It was just like a little game where you throw pickles.
Yeah, and I mean you don't necessarily have to make something for MMC to make something too, so you can like make something even after it and submit it, share it with
Hmm.
people. Like, actually, kind of like going into the this other quick question from Retro Gamer about they're referring to hover bikes that I've been working on. It's like a project that I originally was even thinking of making a MMC thing on it, but I didn't want to rush it. So it's like something that I work on and pick at over time. Like currently, the vehicle works fine, and there's some bugs in it that are really just issues with the physics when it has like low frame rate. But like in other games, that generally happens anyways. So
Hmm.
I kind of put a stopping point on that for now, and
Okay, I
I'm
respect
actually
it.
gonna uh, start working on a checkpoint system for like uh, for an actual race. So, say you have like different checkpoints around a lap or a point A to point B race, you can set up checkpoints along it and have like a timing system for it as well. It's like the next thing I have to do in order to make a racing game in the first place. And as well as starting to design levels for the vehicle to drive on within the
Hmm.
same kind of like PS1 esque art style. Ah. And going back to the thing about Grab World, as Satan Dub asks, how do you use the grab world? I think I never got it to work for me. So within, and this is like more or less a VR only thing at the moment, but
I think there's
current
ways you can do it on desktop. It's just a little weird.
difficult.
It definitely
Yeah,
works much better in VR.
yeah. It basically works by moving forward on the thumbsticks or touchpad, depending on what you're using, and then it kind of locks it into place, and then kind of moving yourself around that point. Like, I'm gonna try
Basically,
to.
when you push the thumbstick forward, it anchors your controller in world space. And when you move your hand, instead of like using the stick to move, you just move your whole hand to move your body. It's kind of like play space mover, I would say, but in world space.
Locomotions, let's add a new one. We'll need
Which
to
I will
bother
say, by the way,
naming.
if people are using a play space mover with Resonite, it can cause issues, and I do not recommend it. Most cases, you can solve some of those issues with like in-game tools or, like I just said, grab world.
Okay, so I added it, but I'm gonna have to actually update the world to kind of. I think it's under the world systems. I think it was. Oh wait, no, utility. There we go. Controllers, and then I update it, and then now I'm in grab world.
Yep, there you go.
So, yeah, with grab world, I can just do this right into the camera. So you'll see like a little gizmo right at my hand here, and I can move around.
Yep. By the way, if you have stick drift, grab world can kind of like send you into oblivion. I have really bad stick drift. If I turn on grab world, I just start like flying off into the distance.
And sometimes, oh, like there, I forget that I'm in no clip and not grab world, so I'll go forward. And then I go into the ground because I have
It looks
like
like
a.
you just went around the world. So you like went down and then came back from behind it.
I mean, I dug all the way through, I guess.
I think that was our last one.
Yeah. And also, there is a little, I guess, kind of unintended bug or feature where every time you move, you kind of move a little bit when you move forward to kind of anchor yourself. So you can just do this.
Yeah, that's what the stick drift gets me.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We should answer that one as the last question. Because that one's pretty easy. And good for people to know for accessibility. Because there is a way to change it.
Yes. Is there a way to fly up and down without having to tilt your head up and down? Having it controller based.
Yep. In the settings, if you go to your dash, you should be able to find a setting that is, I think it asks, let me go find it real quick. It's either in controls
I'll
or user
bring up
interface.
my settings here. So it's under controls, which is the second category here. So I'm going to go to
movement. Controls, and then under locomotion where it says movement.
Use head direction for movement right there.
Yeah. When you toggle that off, I believe it'll use the controllers for movement, and then you can just point the controller in the direction that you want to go, and it will take you. That way you can like point it backwards or forwards, up, down, left, right.
You can even add dead zones as well if you have stick drift within Resonite itself, not just Steam. And you can even change the no clip speed. And also, you can take out different pieces of settings and say attach them to different parts of your UI. For example, I don't use snap turning, but I have earmuff mode, UI edit mode there,
I pulled the
and my
setting
note clip speed.
for seated mode and put it on my facet anchors, which I will say this real quick as well. If you haven't used facet anchors before, highly recommend giving them a try. You can toggle them on in settings as well, and that brings up some UI panels, some extra ones that aren't normally there on your arms and wrists and hand, and a HUD-like one that you can actually use to make HUDs inside of that little thing. It's like preset up. You just throw the facets on there, or facets that people have made on there, and yeah, you can have them in the world. And there's a button to turn it on and off. I have stuff like time, seated mode, streamer camera. That way, I can just like quick access those things without ever having to open my dash. But with that, we should probably wrap it up.
One more quick example here. I'm gonna go to facets here and get some battery facets that I realize I should probably at least install on my avatar. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, that goes to show I need to charge them. Yeah, yeah, in order to get facets, like in your inventory,
or to use a facet, you need to spawn it out and then save it to your personal
save it to
inventory.
the inventory like so, and then click the spawn facet, and then we have them right here. Rue doesn't see them right in front of me because they're...
Well, you also don't have the camera on smooth POV. It's
oh. Oh, that is a good question. All right, so yeah, I spawned these out from my inventory. And you saw the back of my inventory instead of the front. That works. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually uninstall this one so you can see the UI that's in front of my face as well too. You could even put them there if you want. I'm going to place these both right here. So at least, actually, let's make them a little bit larger. Be a little bit larger than that. There we go. Yeah, and I can tell which hand is which because of the side of the icon. I can tell that, well, both of my controllers aren't looking so good. They've had their use today. But yeah. Yeah, and you can toggle or choose which button to toggle either this or the dash within the settings as well too. But yeah, I think that'll be a good note to end on.
Yep. Just want to thank everyone for stopping by, checking out the stream, and asking questions. Hopefully we were able to answer stuff that people wanted well enough.
Do check out the other office hours that the team does. And you can find more information about that within our Discord, within the in-game events facet, which is in the essentials. Yes. And yeah. And right before we end this, I'm going to find our...
Oh, and if you have more questions that you want answered, or if you think of ones after the stream, there will be a forum post that you can go to and put them there for the next office hours, of which we will get to them then.
For next week. Oh, and this Friday we will be doing a recap stream as well on Twitch. And as always, thank you to all of our patrons and supporters alike.
Yep, couldn't do this without y'all. Thank you very much.
Y'all have a good one. There we go. And